I hope you guys won't boo me for this. Don't boo me off the stage for this, but shouldn't we be showing the Washington football team a little bit of respect? And shouldn't odds makers be showing them it a little bit of respect? Mike Fisher in Frisco with the Dallas Cowboys and in the Fishbowl. Odds makers now have the Cowboys as a virtual shoe-in for the playoffs in 2021. The Cowboys are listed as what I guess we could call heavy favorites to win the NFC East. And then we can argue about just how bearish we should all be on success once they get to the postseason. I think this part's interesting. The odds did not really shift drastically, at least according to a couple sports books that we looked at, when Dak agreed with the Cowboys to his 4-year, $160 million deal. They were smart enough, and I don't know if the rest of the observers are, I know you are. Dak signing doesn't change anything from where the smart money said they would be anyway. Oh, yes, the Cowboys had to be aware of other options just in case. But as we told you here all along, and I looked a little foolish there for a while, saying, I'm just going to stick with my prediction because I think the Joneses are sincere and I think Dak's sincere. And I've been saying that for 2.5 years. And I'm not saying I was always the same level of confidence. I'm not saying it didn't waver, but it seemed like the smart money. And odds makers knew that. And so, in their mind, clearly, Dak was already obviously expected to be a Cowboy this season, either via tag or a new deal. I think that, I do think that was obvious. Again, doesn't mean that you shouldn't be aware of, but we talked about the Russell Wilson thing and how impossible it was. Not impossible, let me take that back. How suicidal it would be for Seattle to choose to eat $39 million instead of making peace with the quarterback. We talk about Deshaun Watson and how a trade there would have been vetoed by Dak Prescott. He would have surely said no to that. So the odds were and the logic were that Dak was going to always be back here. And I don't just mean for this season. You know, if you watch this channel, you know that I've talked about the idea of this being a long-term commitment because I believed both sides wanted it. So in the end, they got it. So the odds makers already had the Cowboys priced in at plus 100 odds to win the NFC East. In other words, you're not going to make a lot of money if you pick the Cowboys, if you bet on the Cowboys to win the NFC East, because that seems obvious to the odds makers. Washington football team, reigning champions, 350. Eagles, 400. Giants, 450. By the way, Prescott's odds to win NFL MVP currently at 1,600 as the number, plus 1,600. And I'll let you, if you're a gambler, I am not a gambling guy. So I'll let you debate whether or not, first of all, you know, what all that exactly means. I think you probably already know, but also how right it is, that's worthy of some debate. I just think this. Did you watch Washington play last year? Because, and again, they only had the 7 wins, but 2 of their wins were against Dallas, and they curb stomped you. Well, you know, we didn't have our quarterback. Either did they. They didn't have any quarterback. They, in fact, went through, you know, yes, the Cowboys also went through quarterbacks, obviously. The Cowboys, in the end, had Dak, Dalton, DiNucci, and Gilbert, right? Is that right? 4 starting quarterbacks? But they failed. Alex Smith went 5-1 for that team, and they didn't think he was going to be their quarterback at all. Ron Rivera likes Kyle Allen. He'll now be back. Did not like the Ohio State Buckeye draftee, Dwayne Haskins. He started some games, then he was stripped of his captaincy and then told to exit the building. And then Taylor Heineke in the playoffs. So they used a bunch of quarterbacks too, but yet they found a way. Dallas used a bunch of quarterbacks and did not find a way. So let's give some healthy respect to Washington. They are the defending division champions. Their defense is light years ahead of where Dallas's defense is. And I don't know that the Cowboys in free agency is going to allow them to catch up with that. The Cowboys will be substantially better on offense as long as Dak Prescott is upright. That much is true. But you draft a cornerback at 10, and that's going to help the Cowboys defense considerably, you hope. But that doesn't catch you up with that bunch. Chase Young and all that's been invested in that Washington defense, that is the single best foundation in the division, with all due respect to the Cowboys offense, which, by the way, is still undergoing some change. Still waiting to see Dak Prescott back in action. I've told you I have no worries there, injury-wise. Exclusive, we gave that to you on February 28th. I hope that calmed people's worries. But who's going to be who and what's going to be what and what's it all going to look like? I think the Cowboys offense will look like a group that can go get you 30 points every game. I think that, but I know what Washington's defense is. And so, and by the way, I've known all along Dak Prescott's private view, and now the Cowboys share that view, of course, too, and have for weeks about his health. So the contract affirms that, as far as I'm concerned. If Dak's ankle was falling off, you probably wouldn't have handed him $160 million. Big contract, big expectations, but the same team. The Cowboys are the same team that need to make a leap from 6-10 to whatever. 10 wins would be nice. They are middle of the pack, by the way, as a Super Bowl team in terms of the odds. And where is Washington? I think this season's going to be really fun. Obviously, they always are, until at least you end up 6-10. Maybe last year wasn't that much fun for you. But the anticipation of it all and the thrill of it all is really something for me. But I think Cowboy Nation should go into this process understanding you are not the best team in the division. Dak thinks you are. He swears you are. And Steven swears you are. They're pounding the table for it. And if Mayor Laura Miller was still in charge, she'd already be planning the parade that Dak dreams of. But they don't throw parades when you win the NFC East. Washington did that. They didn't get a parade. They just went back to the drawing board. Cowboys would be wise to keep their nose to the grindstone here, not get too full of themselves, because they signed the quarterback that they already had. And at the same time, while odds makers don't have to necessarily respect Washington, they know what they're doing. They know what they're thinking, and they have a foundation for what they're thinking. But I think Cowboy Nation should respect Washington a little bit. I don't know if you believe in bulletin board material. I often think, that it really gets you fired up on Wednesday, and you get you mad on Friday, and then gets you fired up in the pregame. Then the game starts, and you do your job. I don't know how much bulletin board stuff you're really thinking about from last Tuesday in the third quarter of Sunday's game. But I will say this. My old friend Jimmy Johnson used to believe in it. They had a gigantic bulletin board at Valley Ranch. And as players were walking out of the locker room and out to the parking lot, out to the players' parking lot, that whole wall was bulletin board. The whole wall. So it was good enough for Jimmy. It might be good enough for Washington. And the Cowboys might want to just bite their tongue just a little bit about what an NFC East powerhouse they're going to be in 2021. Thanks for hanging out with us here. 22,000 strong. I guess I better give away a Dirk Nowitzki very unique jersey one of these days. We'll work on that. Stick with us. Fish in Frisco. Fish out.